Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 194 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one Why Are We Echoing podcast in Canada.
It's
Seriously?
Not me this time.
We're recording on September 16th, 2019.
Dave, this is where you read the show notes.
Okay, yep. All right. Hi, I'm Dave, competitive shooter, reloader, hunter, match director, and mentor to all things shooting sports. Tim.
I'm Tim, Liberal Tim. I am a husband and father of three. I'm a sports shooter, and I'm also a proud descendant of immigrants.
My name is Ian. I'm a hunter, reloader, CCFR field officer, and hobby farmer on Vancouver Island.
All right, I'm Marty.
He's Marty.
I guess Marty's pigeons are dead. As always, my name's Dan.
Motherfuckers.
And an F-bomb 60 seconds in. That's good. That's good. New record. Do you
By the
wanna
way,
finish
there's
telling
no
us-
way that's a record.
Sure it is.
All right, I am a hunter, sport shooter in rural Southern Ontario.
As always, my name is Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian competitive shooter, the top 200-meter deliberate rifle shooter, and I have a wicked bad echo, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical.
We're not hearing it, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't hear it either. You're good to go. It's on your end.
Yay for new tools. We'd love to hear your feedback about the echo. You can email us at feedback@canadianpatriotpodcast.com or hit the feedback link on the website, canadianpatriotpodcast.com/feedback. You'll find versions of the show on Stitcher and iTunes.
I'll do Gavin's part. Check out the podcast out on Facebook at facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast and Instagram, instagram.com Canadian Patriot Podcast.
We need your help to support the show. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. And the more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Go to the homepage and follow the link on the right.
All right, let's go into Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north, strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. All right, this is going to be new. So on my screen, we're going to go clockwise, starting with Dave.
I'm drinking Mick Ultra, just trying to keep things light.
That's for people who just like to pee.
And like looking good. Ian,
Ian, what are you drinking?
Vodka soda. Hey, it's keto.
Weird choice, but okay.
Hey,
Marty, what are you drinking?
I have the Banquet of Coors tonight.
Well, the official
Solid
beer.
choice. I'm drinking government water. Much like Dave, I am now on the post-nationals diet.
More about that on Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess tune in to our next episode where Dave and I explain in great detail the autism of rifle shooting.
At Canadian Forces Base Connaught. We were at for an entire week at the end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah, so
Good
tune
fun.
into the next episode to find out about Dave and I talking about shooting rifles. Let's hear from Marty.
So it's no secret to any of our listeners that there's been a bit of a delay in us releasing our episodes. We had a bit of a break here. Some of us, most of us had some level of competitions that we were training for, that we were attending to, and so as a result, the past month or so, it's been a little sparse on episodes, and as a result, in our absence, it seems that some of the other podcasts in Ontario or in Canada, they've been getting a little cocky, and they've been saying some shit. So I have an example here from what I would say is the obvious number 2 podcast, and I'll play that now.
To Andrew from the other number 2 podcast in Canada. He got number 1 result in service rifle, so at least he's number 1 at something, right? But
Oh, there you go.
he did a really good job, though.
Is this like the first time he won a match, and that's why everybody's it's on every known social media platform?
Is that a podcast or a podcast?
Just gonna
So,
remind.
again?
I'm just gonna remind Trevor that I'm the best 200-meter deliberate shooter in the country. What's he done lately?
He's won a 22 competition with 6 people.
He's also rage quit a maple seed.
See, you're the best 200-yard deliberate shooter in Canada. See, I'm most improved negligent discharge.
Well, it's important to have goals.
Yeah.
In that case, Trevor was the first to rage quit.
It's true. I mean, if quitting is a sport, Trevor would be number 1.
That's right.
Congratulations to our main host here, Andrew, on his achievements. And now let's address this whole number 1, number 2 thing, because this is just getting out of hand now. There needs to be a metric around who's number 1 and who's number 2. And as we're both relatively shooting related, I think it only makes sense that we send representatives and compete head to head in a competition. And it shouldn't just be, it shouldn't just be any competition. It should be a relatively large competition, like a nationals competition, and something that respective hosts care about. Something like let's say the IPSC Nationals that just occurred. That seems like something like a good one to take a look at and compare against. But we'd have to compete in the same division, even, because obviously with IPSC there's lots of divisions. Trevor had some comments about.
Oh, you're cutting out, Marty.
I'm sure he's schooling Trevor as we speak, but
Yeah.
Okay,
and we good now?
We're back.
This would be a lot funnier
You're
if
back.
we could hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
So Trevor had some comments about the top about what happened at the most recent IPSC Nationals. Let's hear what he had to say.
Sean Hansen and he was like 21st, and I was 22nd, or he was 20th.
Oof.
Cutting out again,
shooters
Marty.
that
there
are-
we go.
This type of conversation will result in drive-by shootings in Toronto.
For a pledge of $1, you can get a better quality version of the show.
Motherfuckers. The audio is just losing it today. As long as it seems to be, if I swear, then it comes back in. So I'm just going to swear a lot here.
We
But I think
heard
that
Trevor
the-
claim 20th place, I believe.
22nd for Trevor.
22nd.
Now, the nice thing is, to settle this debate, is it just so happens that I also shoot Classic Division.
Oh, no way, Marty. No way.
I was also at the IPSC Nationals and handedly beat the number 2 podcast. Because everything is a competition, and competitions especially so.
What place did you
And-
come in, Marty?
I was 16th, not 22nd, and well in the top 20, of which Trevor was.
no,
Well outside of.
Mhm.
So I think we can put to bed who is the number 1 podcast. This has been we've had this competition, and CPP is on top.
Mm-hmm.
I like when your mic cuts out and it has a like kind of electronic clicking. I like to think it's like a modern version of like Bushman. It's like a series of clicks and
that or they're just the man is trying to prevent Marty from proving that we are the number 1 here.
Yeah.
In summation, I think the CPP podcast would like to say put the proof on the scoreboards of the matches. We'll see.
What if Trevor, like around 9:05, like on a Monday night, just starts like emailing Marty like a whole bunch of like Rickroll gifts?
I mean, the word is he's so upset about losing to us that he's taken up PCC.
He should come shoot IPSC rifle at least. I don't know if he can beat me in that though. I finished 4th last Friday out of 60 competitors, so that was pretty decent.
I guess worst case scenario, you could always go to revolver.
Come and shoot a man's sport and shoot service rifle.
Or just, yes, anything service conditions. Where boys become
All right.
men. Number one
I think we've
podcast. Continue.
settled that. Let's get to the
Agreed.
news.
Agreed.
All right.
Boom.
On to the news.
Just Marty got 16th in the IPSC National.
Yes, congratulations, Marty, on your.
Yeah, good job, man.
It's brought to you by CTV.
Well done. All right, for real though. It's time for the first news article.
Okay.
Oh, does my drops not come through? Because that would be so.
Not at all.
Didn't hear that. Didn't hear that.
Did you try? Did you try a job? Is that what
Deeply
you're?
disappointing.
That was
Deeply
very
disappointing.
anticlimactic.
What one
Waiting,
did
I
you
was like,
want? Do you want the news
News drop.
theme or what?
Yeah, I literally.
That one?
All right, that's
That
the
one.
one. Things to look into to fix for next week, I guess. I'm so glad that Google completely just screwed us over, and we now have to use a new thing that I have not got working. That's great. Thanks, Google. Appreciate you.
We hate you.
Kinda. CTV News. Police looking for 7 shooters in ambush type attack that killed bystander in Mississauga.
Those duck hunters were at it again, I guess, huh?
Is it
Wow.
really Mississauga though? It's Malton.
Peel region. It's
We all
good
know
enough.
it's in Malton.
the
I
airport.
didn't even know Malton was a thing till just now.
Malton got swallowed up many moons ago by Mississauga.
Yes.
I always think Malton would be something that, like, that you do while making a beer.
mean,
No,
also-
I thought that's what.
What is a
birds do.
parquet? And why were guys making a rap video there?
And why do they
Is
get
this
a better?
Malton,
Why do
yo?
they better? They got a better turnout at this gang assault than our suit shoot did at the Sydenham Sportsmen's Association. They got 7. We got 5.
You should have said you were filming a rap video, and then they would have all came.
I did get second though, since no one asked.
Attaboy.
Yeah,
Still
there you
better than 22nd.
Eat them up. And tonight I'm drinking Crown Royal and reverse osmosis water.
Oh,
Yeah,
did we
sorry,
skip you, Tim?
Yeah, sorry,
Skip
Tim.
me. It's the duck. The duck throws everyone off.
Damn duck.
Back into the news now that
Yeah,
I'm
back to
really-
news.
I've completely lost my place. Back into the news. So apparently there was a group of people that were filming a video possibly in response to challenging other people within the community. I'm not really sure what the other video was that had been filmed earlier, but I guess they stepped to someone. I think that's we need Gavin to be up on the lingo.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think you're on the right track, homie.
So police have recovered over 100 shell casings at this point. 7 people were shot, 1 person killed. Somebody is now out of hospital. Everybody else is in hospital in stable condition. Naturally, we need to ban guns.
Yeah, but like they say 7 people hurt. Was it from them like falling down to take cover? If they're already out of hospital, I would imagine they couldn't have been shot. Right?
I couldn't tell you. The article is unclear, but
Yeah.
naturally everyone is freaking out because there was a shooting in the Greater Toronto area because some urban youths were performing a rap video and more than likely upset some other urban youths, and a shootout ensued. So imagine my shock that all of the legal guns need to be taken away from the legal gun owners because the community needs to feel safe and that sort of nonsense.
So actually, it was interesting enough that 2 days before that came out, or that shooting happened, not that I like to quote them often, but Paulista Souvion put out a little tweet saying, "The reality is that most gun deaths in Canada are not a result of urban gangs with smuggled handguns, but farmers and hunters with perfectly legal shotguns and rifles. These are practically never reported in the media." So I'm kind of curious as to which hunters and legal farmers with legal shotguns showed up to this rap video.
Can CCFR like not sue them for slander? I mean, that's just so ridiculously false. It's like blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, I did
So
that kind of laugh is that it's clearly gang related, yet they don't want to touch on that. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, clearly
Ian, I
gang
can
related, but it
prove-
must be the farmers.
It must be the farmers
I can prove to you this was not hunters and sport shooters.
because they missed.
Casings were found. Hunters and sport shooters would have grabbed all of that brass.
Yeah, I know the little brass.
Get
pig-
2 or 3
piggies.
reloads out of those things.
Also, like, look at the difference between government workers versus private sector. At the point when this article was written, they had located 100 shell casing and expected to get even more. We would have had that shit cleaned up in minutes after the match.
Yeah, we don't mess around. Like we got to get home. Like
Well, you got a big beer call too, right? So
I think I saw a video posted.
Pick up our brass and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I think I saw a video posted late afternoon today as well from like a balcony window overlooking the parquet, and you could just see
What the fuck is a parquet?
I assume a
parking
half-size park, I guess.
It's a small park.
Yeah, parquet. That's a
Maybe
condo
It's
size
not
park.
like it's
Maybe
not
it's
like a
actually just
parking
butter.
structure.
no, I thought it was like a.
It was like it looked like a parking lot from what I saw.
yeah, small parking
That's
lot.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, and like this person on like a second or third story balcony was looking through the window, so it was quite blurry, but you could see some individuals, one-handed popping off, and then walking out of the parking lot. So again, not us because that was just terrible grip and form. Nobody shoots one-handed unless the stage says you have to, right? So
Nobody that wants to win.
yeah,
Trevor.
exactly.
Generally has better aim.
So I do have the dictionary definition for parquet though. Noun, Canadian, a small park, usually open to the public and containing amenities like benches and children's play facilities. I didn't know that nouns could be Canadian.
I was gonna say that's a Canadian thing. I've never heard that word in my life.
It's on the internet.
Wow.
Somebody check Urban Dictionary. I'm too scared.
So is it? But seems to be like a park.
Put out at park.
Well,
I'm thinking CTV News is improperly using their Canadian nouns here.
so do you think it's a parkade, like a parking structure?
I don't.
It's just a parking lot. It's literally what it is. It's a fairly large parking lot.
I live
Like,
in
at least
I live in the
four
part of the
cars
country
wide.
where there's fields or laneways.
Oh, well, in more fun news, parkade is a noun for Canada and South Africa.
South Africa. No way.
Well, interesting enough, in Urban Dictionary there is a entry.
Nope, hard pass.
Where's your sense of adventure? Come on.
It went right out the window with all of Marty's F-bombs about his internet.
I blame the duck. Whatever this duck is seems to be worse than the regular Google.
Yeah, the duck does not like you.
It's possible that it is the new streaming app. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go back into the story. I don't have anything else for this other than surprise that people in Toronto filming rap videos
I mean,
somehow got involved in gang violence, and naturally we're trying to take away guns from everybody else.
well, three of the parties are. Sheer thankfully harkened back to the 3-tier system that he already, like his 3-tier platform that he's already announced earlier this summer about, getting tough with gangs and crime. But I mean, I'm sure it's falling on deaf ears for most of the city and surrounding areas because, the servers are bad, okay?
Well, the mayor of Mississauga says that she's committed to ensuring remains one of the safest cities by helping to get illegal guns off of her streets.
Did she say illegal? Sorry?
Yes.
Legal.
So I
I
What
think
does
he's
that mean,
gone.
though, right?
I think he's gone for a while, but I gotta think. Like it's kind of promising that a politician took an extra 3 syllables to like differentiate like illegal guns from like guns. So
Yeah, but what we got to wait and see what her definition of how to solve that problem is. Is it just
I
the
mean-
same as every other idiot?
Yeah, get the illegals off by banning the legal ones.
Yeah, exactly. If that's her solution, then she's just as dumb as the rest. And if it's not, well, then, good for her for being one of these few intelligent ones in politics.
I don't know. It seems crazy to say, like, to hear from like a local, like a mayor that has zero authority when it comes to this type of stuff. Like, there's nothing that she can do when it comes to the gang, the drug violence. Like it's entirely out of her.
They can gesture politically. That's what they can do.
Well, she can fund more gang task force for Peel. I mean, Peel's a pretty big fucking police force.
Can she? Does that come out of the mayoral budget?
I mean, she can lobby for it. No, at the very minimum for the on the council.
That
I would think if it's anything like.
Well, we need more police officers, so I suggest that we cap the police officers' wage in Peel Region.
No, you can't say cap police officers, Tim.
Cap the police.
This isn't a rap
wage,
video.
Cap police officers' wages to $35,000 a year, and we'll get more officers that way.
Yeah, but we'll get more riffraff officers that way. The ones that like giving you shit over stupid stuff.
Implying that there are more available.
You don't think my idea would work?
Not even a little bit, Tim.
No, probably right.
The only thing you got to do with police officers, you got to make it you have to be 40 years old or older, so that you got the piss
So you
and
can't
vinegar out of
outrun
you.
the rappers.
Yeah, so you got the piss and vinegar out of you. You don't have anything to prove. You're more calm. You're not so like full of testosterone and just want to shoot stuff. And then it'll be
Then
better.
you film rap videos.
Yeah. Exactly.
The solution to this is
finally
banning
I have a
porno
job I
and
would
rap.
be too old for.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along to the next one. We've got global news. RCMP Intel director charged in major case was a top advisor to former force head, according to sources. So, a former top civilian employee of the RCMP is being charged with various forms of espionage.
Selling secrets to a foreign entity. They wouldn't name which one.
No, they wouldn't name which one, and it's 3 violations of the
China.
Security of Information Act, and then 2 criminal code charges. And from what I can gather, this is somebody who had access to our entire intelligence gathering system for our federal police force.
Lovely.
So I feel super safe as a Canadian right now.
Yeah.
Naturally, the Prime Minister's office decided to decline any sort of comment other than they've been informed of the investigation.
Terabytes of information.
Yeah, well, and this is part of the scary part. Terabytes worth of information, including lists of undercover operatives.
That's like worst case scenario. Like that's out of movies and stuff.
Well, I think at that point you call them former undercover operatives.
Yeah, everybody's been burned.
Yeah.
Come home. Hopefully any of those operatives that are still out in the field get home safe, because
Yeah.
I can imagine it's either Russia or China.
The
I would
last
just,
time this
like-
happened, it was China, but go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I would assume it's China, but
Yeah.
I would point out the fact that like this, any real country, this guy would just be dead and none of us would have heard of it.
Yeah.
Well, in a serious society, sure, but we don't live in a serious country.
Now, I didn't read it in an article. I'm not 100% sure. Is he getting charged by under military law or civilian law?
Civil law. So this
Be
is
civil,
it's
yeah.
the Criminal Code and the Security of Information Act, which is also civil.
Okay. So
Um,
no
he's never
death
military.
penalty.
So no, it's not military, and he is not actually a sworn law enforcement officer. He's a civilian consultant for the RCMP. But at one time, he was the top advisor to Bob Paulson, who at one point was the head of the RCMP.
That was Bob Polson. He was the guy who would wear his pistol around his hip to
intimidate his daughter's dates.
daughter's
Yes.
dates.
We've talked about Bob. Yes,
He was
crazy
the
Uncle
first-
Bob with his pistol.
And he was the
Mostly
first
Bob.
civilian RCMP commissioner too, correct? Like he had never actually been an RCMP officer, I believe. That's
Bob Paulson, I believe, was a political appointment to commissioner. Yes.
yeah, Yeah, he was the first one that hadn't served as an RCMP officer as well.
There's your problem.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was replacing the first civilian commissioner.
Oh, sorry, my mistake then.
Yeah, did
Like,
some
what-
quick googling.
What kind of guy needs a handgun to intimidate their daughter's boyfriends?
Someone with a small penis.
I find
At
it
least
simple.
that's what I
Those
keep hearing
little
about
elastic
gun
seats on
owners.
cattle. If you have those nearby, those work too.
So I'm of course deeply concerned about this because it impacts our entire national security infrastructure. Because we now have.
We don't have a national security infrastructure.
Well, if we were a serious country, we could though. I mean, we are part of Five Eyes, which is sort of a big deal. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, US, UK. So we do have access to other intelligence gathering services, which, let's be honest here, the Americans are not going to want us to disseminate their classified information. That's not.
Nor
gonna
are
be a
they
good
probably
time.
tapping on our shoulder for our information. I'm sure they already have it.
They probably told us that Ortis was selling information.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the rest of the Five Eyes thing is kind of broken, but
What
the
he
Americans
is.
have.
Sorry.
So, just for everybody else, the history of this last couple of times that we've had problems, there was a Navy intel officer arrested in 2012 for dealing secrets to the Russian embassy in Ottawa, because naturally the Russians have to make the news. He's already out on parole despite having received a life sentence. And in 2013, the RCMP arrested a person with a Chinese name that I'm not going to try and butcher. And he's still waiting to go to trial. So I imagine that this is going to take years to get settled, and also that nothing bad is going to happen to Ortis as a result.
Yeah, well, he will be, I'm sure,
mean-
sitting in like a Ritz-Carlton under like police protection.
Now, this is just a random fact, and I'm sure has nothing to do with what organization he flipped this information to. But according to his LinkedIn profile, Ortis speaks Mandarin.
Yeah, which again is why I'm going with selling the Chinese secrets, because historically they have wanted to know things that we're up to, and also because this guy speaks Mandarin. They kind of makes sense to me.
Mhm.
And they're kind of mad at us lately.
Yeah. So he probably took a picture of his meal once at the Mandarin, and like he's like, "Oh, I love orange beef," and they're like, "We got him. We got his weakness." It's just anyway. So to our listeners, no
suppose that's a
ethnic food.
possibility.
No ethnic food. It's just a slippery slope.
I'm just
Stay
wondering
away
if
from Mandarin.
I'm just wondering in like the months to come if we're going to hear anything that might sound like it's related to this,
No.
deaths or murders, something like that abroad of like, Canadian, they'll say diplomats on the news, but operatives and whatnot.
Yeah,
They
I
wouldn't,
very
they
much
wouldn't
doubt it.
help us. No.
I'm just wondering how deep.
Yeah.
I wonder how deep this goes, so to speak. How much stuff was.
We won't hear about it because those
Yeah.
other countries are probably real countries, and their problems will just disappear silently.
I don't know if they're real countries, but I wouldn't mess with the U.S. intelligence apparatus. I'd mess with our intelligence apparatus, because it's CSIS and the RCMP and the Queen's Cowboys are not people that I put a lot of faith in. But
Clearly.
I feel like the Americans wouldn't mess around with their intelligence apparatus. I don't think they're actually being controlled by their government, but I feel like CIA kind of does what the CIA does. I don't feel like they're going to mess around.
Well,
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
wants to admit that somebody got over on them, right? So the Chinese or the
Right.
CIA, nobody's going to actually admit that they had a spy in their ranks. It doesn't make them disappear, like you said.
Yeah, but Canada would, because Canada sucks at their job.
Hence why we're reading this news article.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, let's go on to another one. We've got National Post article. We're going into military news. Canadian military tests new camouflage uniforms as a replacement for iconic pattern in use since the early 2000s. So soldiers at Petawawa are receiving new uniforms that will eventually expand to around 1,000 people. So this is going to 3 Royal Canadian Regiment for field testing. It's still CAD Pat. It's just different CAD Pat.
Yeah, it's got browns in it now.
Well, you know
So
how
I think-
they're always trying to prepare. The militaries are always trying to fight the last war they fought.
Yeah.
What happens with the next war they go is fight it and happens to be the jungles of Panama or something, and it needs more green. I mean, worked well for Afghanistan if they went brown, but maybe
Could
the
be
next
Mali.
one.
I think
won't
that's the point of this new one, though. This new one is not location specific like the previous one was.
Yeah, like that's why they're going to multicam in the States too. It's very versatile. You don't have to change up the whole battle group to all tan, fatigues. They can run multicam, or this is obviously a digital CAD Pat version of multicam, obviously.
So it
Does it
seems
not-
it won't do every job well, but it'll do every job, but it won't do any specific job well. Then basically, is what
Yeah,
the camouflage
That's
goes.
what I was
Correct.
going to say. Like
Yeah.
it seems like it's a compromise between well, maybe they should just have 3 different camos, like green, desert, and like Arctic.
Well, I mean,
that
they
was
already
the
were
system
raising.
before, right? That's what we had was the CAD Pat Arid, and overwhites. Overwhites are not a new thing. Overwhites are just what they sound like. It's literally a white thing you put on over whatever you're wearing.
Mhm.
And Tim, you're right. That is in terms of a camouflage side of things. Like, it is. You're probably always better to be very specific. On a budget, it's better to have a universal kind of thing.
It is, and how much of this is more to do with like FFO friend or foe recognition rather than actual camouflage properties of these materials? Because that's part of the complaint, right? It's that so many places are using multicam. There's been issues in Crimea where combatants from different countries have shown up and they can't tell who's who because they all look the same. Well,
Wasn't that the same thing in Syria as well with the Russians and the U.S. Special Forces?
yeah,
They're both
same,
using
same problem. They're all using multicam or things that look like multicam, so they can't tell who's who. Well, I mean,
I don't know. I'd say this.
Shouldn't be that hard to tell them apart.
Yeah. If you're at the point where you're trying to look at the specifics of camouflage, the details within the camouflage to determine friend or foe, you're probably in a bad situation.
Right? That's kind of the
It's like, why are you that close?
exactly
to this platoon that you don't know is supposed to be there or is there, but is not on your map.
well, and why is nobody on your Blue Force tracker? And why has nobody got their friend or foe recognition symbols?
Yeah,
why has
did they-
nobody got IR strobes?
Mhm.
Why are they carrying AKs?
Why are they filming
Actually,
a
I
rap
suppose
video?
Why are they filming a rap? What are these Russians doing in my parquet?
Yo,
Marquette,
Slav-
that should
yeah.
be one of the questions.
Slavic hard style. Just like
Why are there guys in Adidas tracksuits squatting in my yard?
All right, so let's talk about quickly. Should we be doing Canadian multicam or should we just buying multicam?
We already buy multicam. It's issued to CanSoftCom.
Yes, and that is planned to be continuing.
Yep.
Our special forces have no intention of switching to this.
Well, and Special
Or-
Forces is kind of special, right? They have their own procurement. They have their own budgets. They don't have to go through the regular procurement process through Ottawa. The CanSoftCom guys can kind of do what they want because that's part of being Special Forces. For the rest of the supply chain, yeah, outfitting a couple of thousands of soldiers is not going to be an inexpensive task. This is going to cost millions and millions of dollars, but we're already spending millions and millions of dollars on the current camouflage with the current uniforms. The uniforms have to be switched out on a fairly regular basis due to wear and tear. So
Mhm.
I was gonna say, if you
start
look
switching
at them,
out to
they're
something
getting
else.
pretty haggard. Like we saw
Well,
the guys up at Connaught. those
That's not
those
really a
uniform-
problem with the. That's not a problem with the
That's up
the
to the
age of the
individual
uniform, though.
soldier.
No, so it was bad when CAD Pat first came out in the early 2000s. It has not significantly improved. The colors tend to wash out very, very quickly in that material. And I think it's a problem with the performance of the particular material they use, in addition to the way that it's cared for by the individual person that it's issued to. Some are in good shape, some are not in good shape, and a lot of it has to do with how it's treated by the individual soldier. But they have to get new pants every year anyway. We may as well start issuing them out pants that make more sense, because the CAD-PAT that we have right now works really, really well in southwestern Ontario for like 4 months out of the year. It doesn't work in the rest of the country at all, ever.
Mhm.
Well, it just seems this new one has excessive amount of brown to the point where it's only good in southern Alberta during the summer. Like,
Yeah, I feel like we're not really solving the problem, but again, I had nothing against the old greens that got issued either.
So
It's,
see that being used. Like I think it serves its purpose. It's okay in basically anything but snow.
yeah, it's like the old Flecktarn. Actually, sort of reminds me of the old German stuff.
Yeah.
It's similar to multicam to me. It's just like it's a digital multicam.
Yeah. Agreed. Like the 511 multicam.
I am a little bit confused about why the Department of Defense has such a buzzkill on for multicam, because just because it's used by multiple countries, I mean that
I think-
should almost be a point in its favor. Like maybe this stuff actually works.
I think that there's two issues with it. One is paying the royalties to Cry that they don't want to do, and the second thing is not owning the licensing for it. So the fact that they have to, like, Cry could be like, no, we're not giving it to you anymore, and then they're screwed.
It's a good point. Maybe we could talk to the Brits about the is it the 95 pattern that they use?
That's like
It's-
a faux cam.
Yeah, it's basically multicam but more British.
Yeah. We saw a few guys there at the Connaught. Like you can't. It's almost indistinguishable from normal multicam. But then it's like a little bit light. Everything's a little bit lighter. So, I mean, I think it's time to update it. The green seems really outdated. And,
I think they should switch to mossy oak.
That's a hard pass for me.
I'm pretty sure that's trademark too, though.
Let's go with something that's actually proven effective.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This is something that we've talked about before. I want to bring it up again because, hey, it's procurement time, so they're going through trials again. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't think that prototype J, the brown camo in the pictures, is going to be one that they finally settle on, but we'll see what we end up with.
I think it'll be similar to that though, and I think that makes sense. Like I think it's better. It's better
Better than what?
the current relish.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Agreed.
All right, let's go on to some good news. Manitoba, this is on the CBC. Jubilant Pallister claims second straight PC majority, albeit a smaller one. So, I don't know, the CBC trying to snub a win here. We have a PC majority win in Manitoba, and I really, really like the subtitle. Liberals lose official party status.
Woo!
Which is why they're snubbing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just good news. Like I said, everybody's really worried for the upcoming federal election, but I think that it's just the media is giving that false sense that the left is doing better than they are. I think that
Nope. Don't get confident.
I'm cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic is what I've been saying, that it's going to go well. I'm hoping.
Don't get confident. We need every goddamn vote we can get out there.
Oh fuck yeah, 100%. 110%.
Yeah, I'm with Marty on this. Let's not get cocky, kid.
But congratulations to Manitoba.
We need federally the NDP, the Liberals, the Greens to lose party status.
All three of them. Can you imagine?
So we should violently disenfranchise them?
Well, that would be the ideal, but
Boogaloo?
I hear helicopter noises.
Oh, I can do that.
No, apparently you can't.
There we go.
Nice.
All right, so next week we're gonna have to figure out how to fix my audio so that I can do my drops again, because relying on Marty's bad internet to get my helicopter sound effect is not really cutting it.
Yeah.
It's crushing your
But
soul
yeah,
one
so-
cutout at a time.
Good news. Manitoba has less than 4 Liberal seats, which is great. So they don't have party status. This is
Good job,
Didn't they
Manitoba.
have the same problem in Ontario recently,
I believe they do.
right? They were down to like 6 seats or 8 seats in Ontario, something
we
like
went
that.
I think it was
Staff-
7. I think
They
it
were
was
the
7,
minivan
yeah.
party.
Yeah, and someone posted something. I said, "Oh, blah blah blah," and like some idiot on Facebook was like, "Oh, I'm still riding with the Liberals," and then posted a little red car, and I was like, "That's an excellent emoji to use because like they can ride up in one car together."
Oh yeah, I remember that conversation.
But now the Manitoba, like they can travel around on a motorcycle with a sidecar. The entire Liberal Party in Manitoba, like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So the Manitoba election did catch me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to have this happen. Oh no, Liberal Tim has disconnected.
He'll be back.
That's bad.
I blame the
Oh.
duck.
There he
Now I
is.
can add him back in. Okay, that's exciting. Hi, Tim.
I click bad button.
It's all right. So what I was saying was the election actually caught me by surprise because they weren't due for an election until next year, and I'm not sure really why or how, but Pallister decided that he was going to call the election early, and ended up winning a majority, which I think is fantastic. I'm just not sure why that was done a year early.
They have a
Re-signed
majority
his contract.
previously?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good for him.
I mean, yeah, he just
Some
got another
political
majority
savvy
for
there.
another 4 years. So I mean, I guess
Yeah.
he's just like, let's get the going's good and let's do this thing. So
Absolutely, yeah.
And in cognitive dissonance, I will read a quote from the leader of the NDP. I don't understand how to pronounce this. Wab Kinu, I think. I feel like I'm being racist by calling this guy Canoe, but
big
I'm
canoe.
pretty sure that's what his name is.
Okay.
And
He used
as
to be
the-
Dutch, and now he's going with by canoe.
This is amazing. Though. I don't think that we were defeated tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the leader of the NDP party.
I don't think we were defeated tonight.
You did not secure a government. You were, by definition of the terms of this contest, defeated, sir. That's
Your enemy
literally how this works.
I didn't
your
know
enemy
that.
has a majority.
Podcast would say.
I would say you lost on all the metrics, as Marty liked to say. You lost.
Yeah,
Yes.
denial is flowing quite well in Manitoba right now.
Well, he does go on to elaborate. The seats that we took back made it very clear that Manitobans want us, the New Democrats, to not only be the conscience of Manitoba, not only be the opposition of Manitoba, but be the progressive voice of Manitoba.
How many seats did they get?
I feel like it was more like they didn't want the Liberals, but I mean, way to take the W, bud.
Turning those lemons into juice, or however you want to say it, I guess.
Something, yeah. I don't know. This is I'm still not sure how he doesn't feel like he lost. They I think they ended up with 18 seats versus the PC's 36.
Yeah, the picture says 19. Or oh no, yeah, it says 18.
Redistributed lemons.
You got doubled.
And of course, we can't have a CBC article without having some sort of a race-related question. So, for the first time, we have diversity in Manitoba. All 3 black people that live in the province have been elected to the legislature.
All 3 people.
Well, I can't imagine why else. So apparently this is a big deal that there were 3 black MLAs that won seats in the legislature, where in Manitoba, no black person has served in legislature before. 2 of them are NDP, 1 is conservative. Naturally, the CBC has to make this into an issue about race.
I was gonna say, why does it even need to be mentioned? It's 2019. Who cares?
Should it matter?
Yeah.
Does it help if I tell you at least one of them is a woman?
Still
Well,
don't care.
that gives her more privilege points, but it doesn't matter. If she won, she won.
Again, from my conservative view, it's the best person got the job. That is all there is to it.
Or she just rode with the right party. I mean, she got elected and she's conservative.
Possibly. A short anecdote on my writing. I discovered that our local Liberal candidate was the only candidate to successfully apply for the position. So should we end up with a Liberal candidate, it is literally because no one else wanted the job.
Sounds like you got a job.
90% of success is showing up, right?
Sounds like
Well,
you just
and
need to show up there, Andrew.
So that's kind of the contrast that I'm drawing with these MLA representatives in Manitoba is perhaps they were
Manitoba.
the only ones that applied for the job.
It's Manitoba. That's not much of a stretch.
Well, it's actually kind of funny because I was debating putting my name for an election spot in my riding, and if I had, I probably would have got it because nobody else did. So, but
This is where I'm going. Like, I think Dave makes a good point. Andrew, you should run for the Liberals in your area.
Whoa.
no,
Whoa.
that would be great because he would have just broke with the party whip and just voted his
Oh.
conscience like a good
Malicious
politician should.
compliance? So much malicious
Yes.
compliance?
Yeah.
Yes, just run as the Liberal and then just like vote against all of.
Every
like-
time.
Just ignore that party whip.
Yeah,
Why not? I ignore everyone else. That sounds
You
like the right
could
thing to
literally
do.
be the inside man.
Yeah.
exactly.
Everybody needs a rebel now and then.
You could tell us what all the stupid thing Justin Trudeau doesn't want us to hear.
Say you're transgender and you're guaranteed a cabinet position.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Good thought.
Or an
Pre-transition, obviously.
An amosexual.
No.
Post transition.
Oh yeah, true. Post.
You
went all the way.
A
You were
male who wants to be a female who wants to be a male, and then just be, that's
I'm
just you.
actually a lesbian trapped inside of a man's body.
Yeah, something
You're a
like that.
you're a misgendered lesbian. Yeah. It's tragic, really.
All right, let's do another CBC one because this is sort of the big news, and this is, things have been busy, but we're back to doing the podcast.
You don't just, ma'am, just go ahead and do what you want. It's okay.
Well, I think some of you have been around long enough to remember this. We started doing this show when the shiniest of ponies came into power.
Yes.
And we are at the point where the writ has been written. I guess actually the writ has been dropped. You drop the writ, you don't write the writ? I don't know. The point is we're about to have a federal
Rotten.
election.
The writ has been rotten.
Rotten?
I don't know. I'm guessing.
So we're going to have our federal election. So we've been doing this for 4 years, guys.
Are we going to do a podcast on election night?
The 21st of October is a Monday. Live
Yeah, we gotta
streaming the
do that.
results.
Well,
I
it'd
think
be-
so.
It'd be
While
the
watching
happy.
Top Gun and Starship Troopers.
All right.
Well,
so
We'll either have to be happy drinking or sad drinking.
Yeah, pretty
Well,
much. I mean,
the
just
point
bring lots
is
of
we're
alcohol
all
either
going on
way.
Tuesday. No one's going to work Tuesday because we're doing something with alcohol.
Can I first off? We're talking about the CBC article that's announcing the.
I really don't want to talk about the CBC, but all right.
Okay, the photo that they used to show the 6 candidates. I've never seen a photo that just demands that you draw penises on it. Like 6 political
Maxim.
leaders with open mouths.
They got
Why does
Maxim
it
really
look like-
badly.
Everyone except Elizabeth May is about to give someone a blowy.
Looks like Scheer's the least willing, so
They want those
good
votes.
sign.
Like, who picks the photos here? Because this is 100% like
They're all
what is
pretty-
the best
Yeah.
photo to drop a penis on. Let's go with that one.
It's not
I-
gay if it gets you votes.
I appreciate this photo because they're all equally bad. It's not like normal where they pick like
Yeah,
a
at
really
least they
bad
screwed
conservative
everybody
photo.
equally.
And-
Yeah,
yeah, they all look terrible in this.
this is true. This is true.
Also, who's the guy on the lower right? Is he the block guy? That must be the block guy.
I
That
would
is the
assume
black
so.
guy.
Yeah.
It's pronounced
All right.
black.
Are they even official party status?
Yeah.
He's so black. He is block.
You're not.
Block.
Yeah, that's a pass for me. All right, moving on.
Don't touch that, ma'am, if you're going to run for election.
No, we can't be doing things like that if we're going to get elected to
No shenanigans.
some
This way.
shenanigans.
If the first 193 episodes of CPP suddenly go missing, it's because Andrew decided to run.
No, hell, the first 100 episodes are my platform.
Not if you're running for the Liberals.
Just be like,
Oh, that's a good
not,
point.
yeah,
That's a good
not a Nazi like the conservative.
Definitely, that should be my campaign slogan. Definitely not a Nazi.
Not a Nazi. NN.
Not a Nazi. Yeah, so we're gonna go on to an election. Election date is going to be October the 21st, which is a Monday. So I expect that the NDP and the Liberals will be off to a solid lead by noon. And
Mhm.
once work lets out at dinner time, we'll see a strong showing from the Conservatives.
Well, Marty, you pay attention to the politics like a lot more than me. Is the election this year or next year?
I didn't know where we're going on this one, but like,
So we got the date. We just don't need to need we need the year.
October
okay, it would be
21st.
this year.
2019 of this year.
It's coming up then, eh?
Yeah, we're a month out,
Coming up soon.
5
bud.
weeks.
Yeah. We should do a podcast on that.
We're definitely going to do a podcast on that. I do enjoy the
that and Top Gun. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're either going to be praising hallelujahs or rage quitting, I guess.
Well, let's. I don't know. Do we want to go back? Like,
we could live list our guns on CGN if the election is lost, and we just try to sell the semi-autos as fast
No,
as we can.
I'll start grabbing my shovel. Fuck
buy
that.
my 858.
What
Um,
guns?
Wait, you guys still have
I was
guns?
gonna say.
Yeah.
I heard
PVC
about
glue all
mine.
over our fingers. Just
Why would you have guns? Who needs guns?
I have a paintball gun. Does that count?
So I'm calling it now. I don't know if I've said it on the show before or not, but I feel like I've had this conversation a lot the last month. Liberal minority government.
Well, thanks for the black bill.
Sorry, guys. This is my prediction. Liberal minority government. We do not have a strong enough right to get a conservative government because we don't have a party that's actually on the right.
Conservative minority is my guess.
Yeah, I think conservative minority. I think that the left is going to split.
Really?
Well, as are we. I mean, if they actually like the debate commissions allowed Max to participate in debates that Justin Trudeau can't be bothered to show up for, which is going to be just enough coverage to ensure even a minor 3 or 4% vote split towards Max, which will take care of the conservative majority chances.
I don't remember where I saw this, but I could have sworn
Max
that I saw
is going to
a
be
poll-
in some debates.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah, two debates.
because it works well for the Liberal Party.
Honestly, I'd say at this point, PPC is not a non-issue. I don't see them getting much of anything.
But the media coverage associated with the debates will help them, and that's what the Liberals want.
Maybe. I mean,
Was it-
I'd say as of today, from what I'm saying, I'm not seeing PPC pulling out. There's a lot of people that want that agree with the PPC and would like that side of things.
But they're also
to
smart
happen.
enough to know that it's a waste.
They're smart enough, exactly. They're smart enough to know that to not to vote for that because of especially in the critical ridings, not to vote for them because they know they need to vote for the lesser of the evils in that case.
Mhm.
So I think in ridings that are like guaranteed conservative.
Okay, so while Marty is doing that, I could have sworn that I saw a poll earlier today. It might have been Nanos, but I could be making that up.
No,
And I-
Explorer smart.
I
There.
could have sworn that the PPC was currently polling at 4%.
That was like from like last week, and yeah, it was like 4%, which was making up the difference of the Liberals winning
Right. So the Liberals were at like 34%.
7, and we were at 33.
Yeah, Conservatives were at
Yeah.
33, NEP at 16, Greens at 10, Bloc at 4, PPC at 4, something like that.
How many
First
people
off,
do they?
Let's talk about look at a recent poll that was accurate in an election, like in a recent election where a poll was accurate.
All right, so we're going to have to dig out the records here to go back to I don't know, when was the last time that we had a poll that was accurate for an election?
I do not pay attention to polls.
Yeah,
Like I said,
polls are
who's
pure
publishing
media.
them? It's all left wing media publishing it. Of course, they want you to think that,
The
right?
power. I remember I had like an epiphany kind of like a while ago when CBC published these articles, and they're always like 100% wrong from what I'm thinking. And I was thinking I'm going who the hell buys this shit? And it's just like
Yeah.
it's not that they're trying to convince you. They're trying to convince you that's all your neighbors are thinking this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it's even more powerful. Like when it comes to election time, like with the polls, I do not pay attention to polls. It was just like
I don't pay attention to much
Now,
of anything.
so I'd say this: I'm not concerned about PPC today in terms of actually polling votes and swinging the election
But
around the debates. It can start changing the topic to the actual issues that people care about.
Yeah, I'd like that.
About them being there, but at least from what I'm seeing, I'm not concerned about them polling votes causing issues with the ridings. Maybe I'll be wrong about that. We'll see, but
yeah, like the ridings that's generally always conservative are probably still going to be conservative. I mean, I know
Right.
here in Halton, it's pretty much Lisa Ray is always in by a large margin, thankfully. So
yeah, like my region has been conservative for like 30 years straight, and it'll be conservative again. And I can see a good portion of my ride, like I can see easily 4 or 5% of my riding is going to vote for PPC because they're comfortable enough doing so.
Mhm. Yeah,
But I can't see people that are involved in politics enough to be aware of the PPC, yet so naive to think that they could vote for them and like in a riding that where it was an issue.
Yeah.
PPC. It was fun to LARP and think about the libertarian aspect of it, but I think when the rubber hits the road, everyone, everyone knows.
Yeah.
Well, that's why actually I was going to run for the PPC candidacy in my riding, but the problem is the conservative guy has a hard enough time.
Okay.
I didn't want to make it any worse for him. I was like, all right, but nobody else did, so there's no candidate running.
I think,
that's disappointing.
I don't know. I was going to say something kind of blackbelly, but I think like libertarianism, I think scares the bejesus out of the majority of the people. Like it's just.
Well, that's because the majority of the people need the government in order to be able to
Yeah.
survive. Because if the
Is it-
government's not there, they don't get to eat, or they don't get phones, or they don't get health care, or they don't get any
don't
of
get
their
their-
gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it means responsibility.
Right. And the average
100%.
Canadian doesn't want personal responsibility. They want Gibbs. I
I
want to
want
be left
personal
the hell alone.
responsibility, but I want you to not take all of my money away and then leave me with personal responsibility.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Not taking away all of my money or 43% of my money. That would be okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Left with dealing with everything myself because they're incompetent at their jobs.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever had a government interaction where I was like, wow, that was completely painless, and I'm so thankful that these people are here to assist me.
Never have I ever.
Yeah, I don't. Usually, I leave government agencies cussing and trying not to threaten anyone.
Does anyone here go to like a chiropractor or a registered massage therapist? Like,
I go to
Well, she's
physio.
not registered, but what's your
Not-
question?
I'm just saying, like, if you go like that, that's private healthcare. And you compare that to like the public healthcare, and then that's just.
But I have a job, so it's still covered.
I put it this way: like the way I look at it is like my dog gets way better healthcare than I do.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like,
Your dog is well looked after.
Well,
Like,
they said it's free.
When I
they
go to
say
the when I
that's
go to the
good.
vet, right? Like when I go to the vet, it's relatively inexpensive. Like he gets there's not like a huge long wait. He goes in, gets whatever he needs to get done, gets out. It's not crazy expensive. If he needs an MRI, if he needs an X-ray, it's done immediately. It's not that expensive. Like it's compared to if I needed any of those same services, it's like a huge ordeal, and it's
Yeah.
thousands of dollars of taxpayer money. And it's like it's the same equipment, it's the same like training in terms of like doctor versus veterinary like schooling. It's basically the same level. Like
And they had the euthanasia laws figured out decades ago.
absolutely.
Yeah, we can't even put down a politician.
Yeah. Not normal times.
There was a friend of mine I used to work with in London went into medical imaging, and so like an MRI operator, and or tech, and they posted their personal Facebook, a meme or this like overweight like boomer woman, and it's just like She said, "Oh, I hope this MRI will tell me why my knees hurt." And her
Well-
coworkers attacked her on that. You take that down. That is not. You never make fun of the the person.
The vertically disabled.
Yeah. Just, anyway, that's just
Oh man.
Let's address a YouTube comment though. MJ has left a comment on the YouTube live chat. Canada is a myth, guys. Whatever Quebec and Ontario decides, everyone else gets. We are not unified as a nation, so what's the point? Well, the point is I live in Ontario and I would like to continue to live in, well, something resembling a democracy.
They're not wrong though.
He's not wrong. And we've had this discussion before. This is not a serious country, and we shouldn't be allowing two provinces to control how it operates. We also should stop probably giving
not
Quebec
even-
all of our money.
not even two provinces.
It's not even two provinces. It's Toronto,
GTA, yeah.
Ottawa,
And
Montreal.
Vancouver.
That's who decides.
Not to mention, like the Maritimes are. Like, I was just gonna talk about this when we were talking about the election, like 4 years ago. Like it's just, like I remember how disappointed I was when I saw like all the Maritimes just go red, red, red.
Yeah, they're so hopelessly red because they're so
God.
dependent on their
Yeah.
welfare checks that they'll just never vote they'll never vote conservative, even though 95% of them are hunters and fishers and enjoy the outdoors and firearms and
Because they're
generally
never going to
live
register their shit anyway.
well, yeah, that too.
But yeah, that blew me away. Like here I was all pumped going to watch the elections, and it was just like just a sea of red out there, and I was like, God damn it. So I understand what they're saying, like about.
I'm hoping New Brunswick surprises us. I mean, they voted in
Yeah.
a conservative. Hopefully, they keep that trend going.
So you're saying like Quebec and Ontario like define that, but like it's just like I'm
It's not even- it's
assuming by
really
that
just
comment they're not from
Toronto.
Ontario. Yeah, I'm assuming they're
Look at
not from
how many
Ontario.
ridings are in Toronto. Like, look at the number of ridings in the province, and then look at how many of the ridings are in the GTA.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's just like
The hard thing is our political, both provincially and federal, conservative gets in. The way the contracts that the previous, like the Liberals have put in, like they've put all these contracts in place, like they can't actually break these contracts because it becomes more cost prohibitive to break the contracts than to just deal with them. So they end up just leaving the contracts that are currently in place. So our best case scenario is for 4 years, they don't make any more dumb contracts. And then as soon as Liberals get in, they just start making dumb contracts again.
Mhm.
So like we don't actually gain anything. We just getting further and further behind.
Yeah, we just get status quo for 4 years or 8.
So separation? Because I mean, I've been of this opinion before. I think I've shared this on the show that we are a confederation of convenience. We're not a serious country. We should stop trying to act like a country.
well,
Like,
I've heard
I don't know what
like
the answer is.
yeah, I've heard like politicians in my riding, liberal and conservative, both say that they think Toronto should be its own province. But then again, like I would prefer, I think Canada should take a step more like towards the American model, where like there's federal stuff, but like sure, your state still has a significant. There's less federal power. Your state, your state or your province in this case, could still be significantly different, and then you could go like, hey, I don't have to leave Canada. I can go to this province. Like if
Yeah.
Alberta had significantly different
Firearm laws.
firearms laws than like federally, like provincially, than the federal system that would outweigh the federal system. And in the states, it even goes even further, and you get like even counties, or like a sheriff in a county has more power, like they can defy a presidential order.
They can say, open carry is perfectly legal in my county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and that's voted, and then like everyone, like I think we're all agreed at one time or another, like the smaller and the more approachable, like more local your government is, the more like you can meet someone face to face and shake their hand and go, you son of a bitch, I really didn't like when you did this or something like that, or or like
It could be held more accountable, right?
Smaller
Yeah.
local government is always better. Like
Yeah.
when was the last time you were like, oh, good, I get to deal with this massive faceless bureaucracy. This will be fun.
yeah.
I mean, I say that all the time, but that's because I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
And I deal with
Yeah,
massive
but if you were
faceless
like,
bureaucracies.
I got a problem with Ted, I'm gonna go over there and talk to him. Let's sort this out.
Exactly. So Western separation now?
Works for me.
Well, I don't know
Please-
if I don't know
yeah.
if that part of BC. You might be the island might be the exception. Vancouver, I don't think is going to separate off.
Oh, we'd still have to wall off the
Can we
southern
do
50 kilometers of the island.
interprovincial wars?
Probably
like
not.
a civil war?
What's that look like? It's a hockey game, or
I don't know. Like, could Alberta like go to war with Ontario and then take us over and just make us like Alberta?
economically, yes, I think that would be entirely possible. And this has been my opinion before that we should just stop doing transfer payments. If you're a have province like Alberta, you should figure out how to bring your products to market. Correction. You should allow your private industries in your province to operate correctly so that they can bring their products to market. And then you should stop taking their money to give it to people in Quebec.
I mean that whole thing with transfer payments, like the way it's structured, it entirely incentivizes you to run a deficit. Like if you don't run a provincial deficit, you're an idiot.
Yeah, run a slight deficit and then you get a payment.
I think if Alberta wanted to go that way, all they have to do is like wall off basically the Holland Marsh, join it up with the 407 and call it a day, and then the rest of the province would probably join Alberta in a heartbeat.
Well, as long as they accept people who can prove they voted conservative the last 3 elections or so, then I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's a start.
And then we buy Ontario in 8 years at a fire sale price.
No, we annex it for nothing. It's going to be empty anyway.
And once they run out of money and supplies, they're fucked.
We'll all be dead from global warming anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like if we put up a wall around Toronto and came back, it'd be like that scene from I Am Legend with Will Smith where he's walking around New York with just his dog.
Yeah. The only thing, it would just there'd be more empty vapes on the ground.
Or there'd be one guy left who'd eaten everybody else.
And that dog would 100% be adopted.
There'd be shell casings all over the parkettes.
Half-recorded rap videos.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Hundreds
At
more to
least
come, yeah.
100.
At least per.
Yeah, per rap video.
Let's move on to rapid fire feedback. I think Ian's taking the first one.
Yeah, for sure. I got one from Rob797. Says, fantastic show. Says the podcast has been great host and great guests. Lots of interesting topics are covered in the various episodes, and listening to it makes the time go by faster at my job. Just wanted to give the show a little shout out and much deserved review. All the best from Rob. So Rob from a guy that's also went to school at Woodhaven, Queen Street, and Millgrove. Just want to say, hey, thanks for representing the hometown.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Sorry your taxes are so high.
Actually, they're not where he is. He's probably one of the lowest.
All right, let's do another one. We've got Evan, but it's taken. 5 stars, title communists, review reads. I used to be able to walk around without any trouble at all. Now I see communists everywhere and I notice the theft of wealth. Keep up the good work. I love your podcast. Thanks for listening, Evan, but it's taken.
It's kind of like the Sixth Sense. It's like they don't know they're commies. Something like that.
Well, you walk
Well,
down
it's not
Toronto.
real communism.
I heard someone who I considered to be fairly intelligent talk about our free healthcare the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Did you want to throw punch them?
I feel like this is the beginning of a letter, Kenny. So I walked into the local hospital the other day.
I met a
No,
comic.
I find it especially sad when you talk to people that like they get like 90% of the way there on their own, and then their solution is government.
That is never the solution to anything ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like, unless you want to learn how to ruin a country. Government is never the answer.
Yeah.
Don't do government. Not even once.
It's a gateway.
Yeah. Well, then it's like it literally is. It's like people smoking rocks. Like I have this one. Well, he's not really my friend anymore. Honestly, he's so hopelessly dependent on the healthcare system because he's sick. Mostly from smoking too much cigarettes and doing too many drugs. That he couldn't possibly think of voting conservative because he's like, but they're going to make, cut. All he hears is they're going to make cuts to healthcare this and healthcare that. And it's like, but dude, if you just took better care of yourself, stopped smoking all the dope, you'd be fine. You wouldn't need them. But taking care of
But
yourself.
that
You
would
wouldn't have
require
There you go.
that would require personal responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. Which he has
High
none
time
of.
preference and all that shit.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have finished 22nd in Classic at Nationals either that way.
That's right. That's it. Good show, gentlemen. I think it was a
Yeah, I think
show.
we'll wrap it up there. We'll go around same order as before. Dave, where can everybody find you on the internet?
So everybody can follow me on the grams at Diesel6223. You can see all my shooting sports and whatnot. And hit me up if you need some info about coming to shoot service conditions precision rifle. Just message me on there. I'll hook you up with all the info you need to come out and shoot.
All right, Ian, I've heard you have a similar yet lower quality podcast.
Similar, good quality, but better download numbers.
More prepared.
More prepared.
A more prepared podcast. All
You
right.
can imagine.
There you go.
Zing.
Yeah. So Canadian Prepper Podcast. And also you can reach me at the islandretreat@gmail.com. I guess we're talking about winter camping next one.
Nice.
You should involve Tim. Tim's a
Is that a-
benchmark in like what not to do for winter camping.
Is that a thing?
Winter camping?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Marty, where can everybody find the show?
Hang on.
The website has not changed, bro.
Yeah. You know what else has not changed? My enthusiasm. CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@com.
Canadian Patriot Podcast, just to fill in the blank there.
Yeah, we got to do something about your pigeons, man. Tim, where can everybody find you on the internet?
You can find me at facebook.com/Tim'sGoodT-shirts. They're quite good.
If you've listened to this long, I apologize, but you should check out RagnarokTactical.ca. Come and get some first aid kits or some tactical accessories, and if you use the code Patriot at Patriot, if you use the discount code Patriot at checkout, you'll save some money on your order. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaka. I'm sorry that we couldn't get him on the show this evening. Obviously, we have a very full panel, and we're still trying to learn how to not use Google Hangouts to do this. The new thing is confusing and enraging, and I'm sorry to Rod that we didn't get him a link early enough in the day for him to schedule us in.
We blame the goddamn duck.
Fucking duck.
For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you're the true North, strong and free.
We are